So guys, it's here. It's finally here. The beginning of football season, preseason, Thursday night. It was a bunch of games on the slate to kick off the NFL season officially. Of course, we had the Hall of Fame game, but the Panthers and the Bears played each other obviously up at Soldier Field. And in this video, we're going to break down and react everything that happened for the Panthers in this game. Just talk about some players that stood out, some things I noticed, and what I expect going forward. We're starting right now. What up, dude? What's up, everybody? It's Aaron Duncan here from Necessary Bluntness Sports Talk. On this channel, I give breakdowns about the NFC South, in particular, the Panthers. So if you want to see more videos about the Panthers, go ahead and subscribe button, guys. But let's go ahead and get into it. So I got a lot of things to talk about, of course, with this game, man. We got the victory, of course, 23-13. Feels good to win. I mean, it's preseason. Nobody really cares about the wins and losses, but it feels good to get a win. It's good about momentum going forward. A lot of good things happened tonight. First thing, I'm just going to organize the video. I want to talk about the standout people. I'm going to go down every position pretty much in the offense to evaluate how they did. Talk about the offense as a whole. Then I'm going to go to do the same thing for the defense and injuries and my final thoughts about whatever at the end. So let's go ahead and get into it. Standouts, of course. I got to talk about the young buck, the first round pick. Brian Burns in his first time. Okay, there's no defense, no starters played, no projected week one starters played this game. So it gave Brian Burns a chance to get in there full time. I can't even lie, man. I like the motor and the quickness he showed. He really didn't beat anybody on his initial couple moves, but the effort, the quickness, the motor, the speed that we see from him, not giving up on plays as he wraps around for sacks when the quarterback steps up in the pocket or tries to get out of the pocket, or even when you try to block him with a tight end, he obviously showed that he's too quick for those kind of blockers. So he'll be on the field making an impact. He'll be a difference maker, I think. So you can see that just off of the motor and the speed that he showed tonight. On the other hand, Marquise Haynes, the second-year guy. A lot of people forgot about Marquise Haynes, but he's been quietly putting in work. He had a good camp. He had a good game. He had 2 sacks of his own, just like Brian Burns. And he started across from Brian Burns tonight in place of Mario Addison, of course, like he didn't play. But Marquise Haynes looked pretty good, man. He crashed the edges a couple times. A lot of times he was coming on block out of that 3-4 front. And he was coming unblocked, crashing down, making some plays in the backfield. So you like to see that he was active out there, and both these DNs were kind of showing their motor and getting after the quarterback and after the football in general. The next breakout person I know is Elijah Holyfield, of course, the real deal Holyfield's Vander Holyfield's son, Elijah Holyfield. He had a pretty solid game. He started off shaky, his first career carry in the league. I mean, I know he was nervous. He didn't start, but his first career carry, he fumbled. It was crazy. They ended up, Bears ended up recovering the ball and turning into points. They put Holyfield back in the game. He proceeded to score a 7-yard touchdown on a dump off from Will Greer. He also snuck into the end zone at the end of the game on a pretty good run where he showed good speed to turn the corner. Something that we didn't know if he had or not. He had that slow 40 time like a 4.8 or a 4.9 coming out of college, but he showed good speed on here. I mean, it was a bad read. I mean, he went completely away from the running play. He had a pulling guard and a fullback going right, and he immediately darted to the left. And he broke tackles, showed some speed, got into the end zone, finished the run. He showed a lot on that run, so I was pretty good and pretty satisfied about how he bounced back. But he had 2 touchdowns, of course, the only 2 touchdowns of the game, so he got to get some shine from me. Third breakout person was Tarik Cohen on special teams. The punt return battle, whatever, for that position and kick return is pretty tight. They're trying a bunch of guys out. They tried a bunch of guys out tonight, and that's not even including guys like DJ Moore can go back there and Curtis Samuel, or like that, you know what I'm saying? So they have a bunch of guys in this competition, and Tarik Cohen, the speedster out of Georgia, had 2 solid returns, one for a 22-yard where he made a couple guys miss. He showed a couple different things. He showed one, he just showed the speed and quickness where he was able to get to the outside and make a couple people miss and reverse the field a little bit. He looked fairly quick, making those guys miss in space, and he looked great on his other return, the 57-yard, the big one, where he was patient enough to let the wall form, and the wall warmed up perfectly. It was a clean return. Guys were taking people out from him to turn that corner. Ended up turning to 57 yards, showing off that speed down the sideline. So shout out to Tarik Cohen. He didn't do a ton on offense, but I'll talk about that a little bit more also. However, let's go ahead and get into the offense now that that's out of the way. So Kyle Allen got the start. We talked about that, and he looked decent, of course. He moved in the pocket pretty well. He missed some throws. All the quarterbacks seemed kind of too excited out there, but he took the defense, dumped it off to Cameron Artis-Payne, who had some pretty decent receptions and a couple screen passes just to keep the offense moving. They moved the ball pretty decent with Allen, but It was kind of tough to run the ball, period, all night for anybody. Moving on to Will Greer. And I don't know, I'm not going to shade him. He's a rookie. This is the first time he played, but he definitely looked rough initially. I can't even lie. Like, he looked rattled and frazzled early on. Like, he was missing passes bad. He looked kind of shaky in his footwork and in the pocket. He was kind of looking at the rush. He got creamed early in the game on one drive. He really was somebody missed the block, and he just got flattened. That kind of shook him up a little bit. But I think the play call was just a little bit too suspect when he was in the game. Once they finally started throwing the quick pass, let him throw in quick passes and like three-step drops out of the shotgun, get rid of the ball, still paid off, and they ended up driving and finished that touchdown with Holyfield on when they had a short field after the return by Tarik Cohen. So you saw once they gave him quick reads and quick decisions to make, he started looking crisp and putting the ball in the money, giving a chance for these guys to get some run after the catch. But for the running back position, Cameron Artis-Payne got the start. He's been the forgotten guy, but he always has a good preseason. Had a pretty solid preseason tonight also. Catch someone he can catch the ball out of the backfield. Wasn't a ton of running room for anybody tonight, but he definitely showed those hands off tonight. Reggie Bonifant got the next. Him and Holyfield split some next wave of carries, I guess. But Bonifant is the former quarterback from Louisville that changed the running back because of Lamar Jackson when he was in college. And he looked pretty good. I mean, he's probably the most natural pass catcher out of the other running backs besides Christian McCaffrey that we have in the backfield. Cameron Artis-Payne can catch the ball a little bit. I heard Jordan Scholars have improved, but Bonifant really looks like a natural pass catcher out there. You can tell that he looks pretty smooth, and he has a pretty decent run. He had a nice, decent run towards the end. He kind of iced the game away, so shout out to him. Wide receivers, not a whole bunch to say. It was kind of iffy. Andre, what's his name, Lavroni, from the guy we signed to a future contract from out of Virginia last year. He had a couple snags that were pretty nice and a couple first down conversions that kept the chains moving. Ron Rivera mentioned his name tonight in the press conference, but I didn't really say anything too impressive from anybody at receiver. I did learn that we do have a lot of depth up top, of course, with Torrey Smith, Jarius Wright, Chris Hogan, Curtis, and DJ. Of course, that's 5 guys right there who probably locked in. So they probably didn't want to play anybody tonight just to give all the receivers a chance to show off what they had. But there's one more spot on the team, and Tarik Cohen being able to make plays on special teams shows that if he can show anything offensively, he's gonna have a leg up just because of the value he brings, return and on special teams, and being that 6th receiver off the bench. The offensive line as a whole did well. Of course, none of the starters played, and the first group that was out there was all inexperienced players except Tyler Larson at center. So Ron Rivera said they did that strategically just to see how everything would go. There were a couple of missed assignments when they brought more people. There were a couple sacks, I guess, but as a whole, they did pretty good. Greg Little, I watched him a couple plays. I don't focus on the O-line when I'm watching live games, but I did pay attention to him a couple times, and he looked pretty solid out there. I really didn't see him get beat like that. He's a better pass blocker than run blocker, so I didn't really watch him on the run game, so maybe I can go back and check that out. However, he looked pretty solid to me up front overall. But it is what it is. Ian Thomas, he had a flash today. He had a little drag route he turned up, but he ended up leaving the game with the injury. He hurt his rib, I think. So you got to pay attention to that. You know, he's been beat up. He didn't really get to practice in the spring and minicamp and stuff. So he had just started coming back probably about a week ago. And for seeing him to get hurt again kind of sucks. But that's pretty much it for offense. Offensively, it wasn't a ton to do. It wasn't really impressive. I mean, we took advantage of the field position after the special teams, so we got in the ball there, but it was tough to move the ball running-wise, for sure. And receiving, I don't know. They weren't really making plays. The quarterbacks were doing a decent job getting the ball in relatively decent areas around them, but a lot of receivers weren't making plays for the guys, so that's what I'm a little nervous about, but I was happy about the offensive line overall. Quarterbacks was all of them, but it was early in this, the people they're playing with, too. Defensively, I talked about the people up front already, but the other guy that stuck out to me up front was Brian Cox Jr. Now, this is one of those unsung heroes they don't really hear about. He's the son of a football coach. I think Brian Cox used to coach the Falcons. Brian Cox Jr. is his son. He plays D-line, and he plays in the 3-4. He plays one of the down linemen. So I like that because he's not that fast off the edge, but he's athletic and rangy enough where he can make some pass plays in the run if he's lined up against a tackle or so, because I like the way he's built. But Brian Cox Jr. made some plays. He was very active. I saw him making a lot of plays. He was around the ball a lot. For the linebackers, I didn't really see a ton out of anybody except Andre Smith. Andre Smith made a couple plays, obviously, because he was around the football a few times, and I just saw him. I think he got most of the work because obviously Luke didn't play. Shaq Thompson didn't play, and he really didn't do anything but switch. He switched time with Norris, the backup and special teams player, the linebacker. So they split most of the time, but it looks like Smith got a lot of the playing time. He's running the football, so he did his job. He's active and he chased the ball down. Okay. But moving on, what we're all trying to pay attention to, the secondary. Now, the secondary, no starters played here also. However, Rashawn Golden, who has a chance to start, got the first team reps at free safety, and this guy's active. He played a lot tonight. Trey Boston did have a sighting in the second quarter. He didn't really do anything flashy, but Rashawn Golden was obviously, like, if you're watching the game defensively, he was sticking out. He was making his presence known at the free safety position. He was flying around. He was making plays. He has a motor. He's physical. He may be kind of slim, 6'1", 200 pounds. When he came out of college, of course, he might have gained some weight by now, but he still looks pretty slim. He is very, very physical. You see him, they brought him on a blitz, and he went and got the quarterback. Almost got a sack, but he ended up turning into a nice pass breakup that was almost close to a strip fumble. And then also, he had a peanut punch where I know that we got Holyfield on the team, but he looked like he learned a little 1-2 piece from Evander himself, you know what I'm saying, where he punched that ball out with the peanut punch, and that was big, man. He's in a competition with Trey Boston. They brought in Trey Boston recently when Golden got hurt, but Golden looked like he was on a mission tonight, man, to show that he shouldn't just be demoted automatically. We shouldn't count him out. However, this competition is not going to do anything but push both of them to play better, and this is exactly what we need. We need the best player to play, but we don't want anybody getting comfortable. We want people to be fighting for their football lives, per se. But like I said, Trey Boston really did do a ton, but Rashawn Golden really stood out tonight. He really should have been the standout player I mentioned at the beginning, but I want to give him his just due in this section, just talking about the defense and the secondary. No update from me really on the nickel position. I didn't really pay attention to it. They didn't really make any plays. I didn't see anybody make a ton of plays. They were around to make some tackles on some short passes, but nobody really just flashed and made any plays out of the guys that played. I saw Javion Elliott. I think he was the second nickel off the bench, maybe the first. I don't know, but he's the only one I really saw in particular I was looking for. Corn Elder slid in there on the second team also, so I want to see more before we make this decision. Nobody really separated themselves, so I just need to see more. Last but not least, the kicking. Graham Gano, they brought another guy, what's his name, Joey Sly, to give Gano a break, to give his leg a break because he's older and help him recover, I guess. I know he hurt that plant foot last year kicking. However, the guy that came out, I think he hit a 29-yarder, a 55-yarder, and like a 40-yarder. And he hit his extra points. And we pretty much have our kicker, of course. This reminds me of the Harrison Butker situation when we brought him in and the guy did pretty good. Now he's going to be the Chiefs kicker probably for the next 15 years. And looks like maybe the case for Joey Sly. Because the Bears, they're looking for the kicker after Cody Parkey missed that whatever. And so they had those two guys going at it. But when you see a guy from the opposite team and you know that team doesn't need a kicker and he's going off, you're going to take him a look. So that's the good thing about preseason. Guys may not make the team, they may not have a chance to make the team, but that just gives you a chance to shine because you're going to get a lot more playing time in preseason that you may not get with another team. But injury-wise, like I said, Ian Thomas was the only guy, and then Lorenzo Doss, the corner, he hurt his rib too. I think he's the one that started at nickel, actually, and he ended up going out. But he hurt his rib too, so pay attention to those two things. So fairly clean. We didn't lose any offensive linemen, thank the Lord. We didn't lose anybody on the defense either like that. Except Doss. I don't want to lose anybody up front on either line, so that's always good. But as far as defensively, I saw us come out in that 3-4 and the 4-3. We showed both looks, which is all like I wanted to see how we did. I know that it looked like a couple times Matt Nagy, being as creative as he is, he was able to isolate the running back on some of our linebackers in certain sets when he motioned them out to wide receiver and stuff. So pay attention to that. That was a nice little play by Nagy to kind of show how our team can be attacked, and maybe Ron Rivera go back to the drawing board and figure out how we're going to handle that in certain situations. But overall, defensively, pretty much shut them down, man. I like the pressure. 4 sacks total coming early from Brian Burns and Marquise Haynes. I think Marquise Haynes' second sack was actually later. But I like what I saw from them. I want to see more from the other guys like Christian Miller and stuff like that when we in FA, obviously up front. But not too bad. Rashawn Golden, I was really happy about that. As physical and active he is, I'm feeling good, man. No starters play, but I'm already ready for next week. So you guys let me know down below in the comments what you thought about the game. Are you hyped up even more after seeing our backups get the big-time dub over the Bears? Let me know down below in the comments, but make sure you guys stay tuned to the rest of my videos. Turn on the post notifications when you hit the subscribe button, which is that bell icon. That way you get notification every time. You won't miss a thing because I'm dropping a lot of content when it comes to the Panthers. So without further ado, I'm Aaron Luckett signing off. I'll see you next time.